All right, every day at lunch, I go to the Piccadilly Salad Bar, which, by the way, they send you 10% back on Venmo, and you know your boy puts that into Bitcoin. Then I come back to the office, and I watch Lucci play Call of Duty Warzone. He's pretty good. I'm actually pretty good at the game. He trolls people. I like trolling people. And it's just good conversation while I eat lunch. Lately, while I've been watching him, I watch him on YouTube. He's been pushing Kick really hard because of the economics. And so I finally went to check it out. What I found was way weirder and more interesting than just gaming streams. All right, so do you know what Kick is, John?
Not really from the sense that I'd ever been on it, but Kick sponsors or owns sponsors a Formula One team. And I'm into Formula One. I don't think they will pass this year. I think this is their last year. Kick Sauber, which is like steak as well, which is steak and Kick are same company, essentially. So I'd seen Kick because it's on all the branding on these Formula One cars. I watch the Formula One racing. I follow it fairly closely. And so I'd always been sitting there wondering, what the fuck is this Kick thing? And so you said we were doing this episode, and I was like, holy shit, I need to go and look into this a bit further. So now I know for sure. Yeah, I've spent a bit of time on there lately. And yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, well, I think the listener is going to be interested too. If you're not on YouTube, there's definitely going to share some photos and videos. By the way, this podcast is always better on YouTube, but whatever you prefer, we don't mind. All right, Kick. It's a streaming platform launched in 2022. It's like a Twitch competitor, right? I'm sure everyone's heard of Twitch at this point. The key difference is Twitch takes a lot of your money, and Kick came along and said, we're going to take a lot less of your money, right? So it's a 95-5 revenue split versus 50-50 from Twitch. You can actually make money with way fewer viewers on Kick. So rough math is like if you have 100 people watching you, you make like a $1.60 an hour, something like that, plus all the donations, of course. And same on Twitch, you'd get 50 cents an hour, right? The thing on Kick is like all fees are eaten by the donator now, right? So if you donate $5, it used to be like you would donate 5, the platform would take a chunk, and then they would revenue split it as well, right? No longer is that happening. So on Kick, if you donate $5 now, the fee is on the person donating that, right? So now the streamer is actually getting that full amount that somebody donating, likely wants them to get. Every day I'm watching him on YouTube and he's like, you got to come over to Kick if you really want me to answer you or whatever. He's also like playing music on Kick that you can't do on YouTube or you get copyright issues. I don't miss that part, if I'm honest. I don't want to listen to someone else's music. I like my own music. I'm sure John likes his own music too. I ended up going over to Kick and I started going down a rabbit hole, and I kind of wanted to like walk you through my literal progression. So rather than do it live, I took screenshots of like my progression walking through this site because it got a little weird, John. I'm going to say it got a little weird. So anyway, you're thinking streaming, right? You're thinking streaming. You're probably thinking of somebody playing video games, right? So I'll share this one right out of the gates here. All right, so this is Lucci, right? This is what I come back with my salad. I put a little sauerkraut on there. Yes, I know I'm weird. I put a smoked egg on there and a little bit of olive oil, and I sit down and watch my boy Lucci. It's good for you. It's good for your gut. Lucci's, it's just a really good conversation. It's what I watch every single day. But I started like exploring other categories. So I'm gonna click you through a few that I found on here. And I just genuinely want your reaction, John, because they just got weird. So the first thing I clicked on, actually, I feel like might be up your alley. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you lived in Thailand for a little while. Is that correct?
I sure did. Yeah, absolutely.
When I first started dropshipping, I wanted to live in Thailand. I wanted to have a laptop on the beach running my dropshipping business. It was the dream I was sold. And doing that, you end up hearing about all of these islands like, Koh Tao or Koh Chang or Koh Phangan or all of these things, right? And inevitably, you're going to stumble into the full moon party, which I don't know enough about this, John. I've only heard the lore. Have you been to a full moon party before?
I have been to multiple full moon parties. I've been to half moon parties. I've been to blue moon parties. And I've been to black moon parties. Your boy has spent all of the parties in Thailand time. And wild times indeed, my friend.
All right, tell us what a full moon... This person is streaming a full moon party. Tell me what's even going on here.
Yeah, so the full moon party, look, I haven't been for quite a few years now, I must say, so it may well be different today, but it's on an island called Koh Phangan in the Gulf of Thailand. It's kind of what that island is known for. It's next to Koh Samui is the larger island where you would fly into if you're flying in there. And it's basically, there's just a long beach there, and it's got a lot of bars along the beach and all that sort of thing, and they set up like music, like dance music. It's like a rave on a beach or a bush doof, if you're familiar with that terminology, on a beach, right? So there's just people dancing everywhere, basically, doing drugs, drinking lots of buckets and, alcohol and things like that, and carrying on like a bunch of pork chops. That's it. Fun times, right? And so there are also versions of the smaller version, like I say, Half Moon Party, which is up in the jungle. It's a bit smaller. And, there's all sorts of stuff. But, like, it's basically what you think. It's a big dance party on the beach, essentially.
Can you picture yourself streaming this, interacting with your chat who are making donations to you to God knows what, eat mushrooms, eat more mushrooms, do something, hit on the girl behind you? I have no idea what this chat is telling people to do. Can you picture yourself doing this? Because he's got 247 people watching him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can picture who's watching it too.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, I could picture, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, probably, like, most people wouldn't even know you could go to Kick and see this, right, in the first place, because I don't think it's that big yet. But, like, you've been to full moon parties before. You're somebody who loves the full moon party, but you can't get to them anymore. But you want to go and see, like, what's it like? Like, I'm genuinely curious sitting here, like, as somebody who has been to a lot of full moon parties, but hasn't been to one for, like, I don't know, 8-9 years or so. What are they like? Is it the same as what it used to be? And I can get on and see somebody who's there live, just like getting around. Like, I could genuinely check it out. Like, I'm there, like, first person sort of sharing it. I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't know that I'd sit there and be like commenting and asking questions and all of that sort of stuff. But, like, I can kind of get it a little bit. I get this one a little bit.
All right. Well, let's stay down the Thailand rabbit hole, because I know if you've been to a Half Moon Party, buddy, you've been to Pattaya. Tell the listener what Pattaya is as I show them this next guy streaming.
Yeah, Pattaya, lots of old white men who can't score a chick in their own country walking around with women a quarter of their age. That's Pattaya.
I thought that was all of Thailand, personally. I saw a lot of that.
This is the part of Thailand that I actually did not spend much time in, okay. I want to say. But it is a popular part of Thailand. But, like, I'm being a little bit tongue in cheek here, and I'm sure I'm by no means doing it justice. But that's what I think of when I think of Pattaya. It's the place where, guys from other countries go to find friends.
Look, I can imagine who's watching this. Right. I watched it for a little bit because I was like, there's going to be a ladyboy here, right? Like, that's going to happen. I wanted to see it happen. You can see the comments. Let's see that thong back. Laugh my ass off, right? Like, you can tell where these commentaries are going. I'm pretty sure that clock says 2:30 up there on the top of it. So he's got 159 people watching him at 2:30 in the morning in Pattaya. I'm not sure how to say that one. And that's all he's doing is sitting here. And he's like responding to the chats while different girls come by and drink drinks with him. I watched this one for like 10 minutes and I could not wrap my head around why anyone is watching this. Although I think I get it. Again, use the comments. Think of who Jon just described as coming here. I saw some of those questions come in asking those type of questions. Like, hey, where should I go for this? And how are you liking, I don't know. Do your own research here. That's all I would say. But I thought it was very interesting to see the full moon party and then see this when I landed on here.
Yeah, it's so wild. Like, once again, I can totally see people. This is not my one for sure, but I could totally see people checking this stuff out. Like, I was on there yesterday and I came across these two dudes like live streaming, walking up the streets. I think in Boston. I think it was Boston. They were just walking up the streets, like drinking and smoking, like drinking booze and smoking. And that's it, like just talking horse shit. And they were just streaming it live. Like, they were going somewhere and doing something, apparently. But there was like 700 people watching them or something, like live. What the fuck? These guys are doing nothing. And like, they weren't even classy drinking. They were like taking a swig out of the spirits bottle and they're taking a swig out of like some fruit juice and just go backwards and forwards. It was like crazy.
I feel like, what do they call us now? They call us like unk. I think when we're 40, we're unk. So are we unk? Are we boomer? I'm not sure. Some of these I just don't get. Look, I get this. I understand who's watching. I'm just realizing now that it says Fern About Town at the bottom. Like, that's not the dude. I don't think this is the dude. I think this is some random dude who's like sitting in on this conversation with Fern, or maybe that's her boyfriend. I'm unsure. So anyway, let's leave the weird, Jon. Let's move to something less weird. This one I actually found like fascinating. This is a food truck in Baltimore, and the guy is just streaming people coming up to his food truck and him making the stuff. And so he's got 357 people watching there, likely giving him kicks, which is like the way you give a donation on there. He's got a little GTA 5 style graphic in the upper right. I can appreciate that one. But this is it. He's working his actual job, making food, chatting with customers, and live on stream while he's doing this, and then interacting with a few people in the stream who are not, posting some weird stuff in the meantime. Watch this one for 10 minutes. Seems very, very simple. And certainly when we get to later in the show and we talk about how we could utilize something like this one's just like came to me of like, why don't I just have a camera in the corner of my office all day long, right? Like someone's going to want to watch that. I don't know if I want to sit there and chat all day long, but this seems pretty obvious for food truck people.
Yeah, and like I do like this one because this is just like a example of like literally how easy it is to overthink what other people find interesting, one, and like two, like how simple it is to make extra money. Like this guy's going to be doing this shit anyway. Like he's doing this anyway. I guarantee he's not really doing much special here for the Kick audience. He's just got the camera set up and he's serving people and making the food and doing the things that he would be doing anyway as his primary source of income. But he's getting paid extra here. Like he's actually making more money here. Like you say, there's 357 people watching live right now, for over an hour. That's, $5 or something like that. He's probably going to get some kicks, like donations as well on top of that. So like it might not sound like a ton, right? But like, once again, he's making extra money that he wasn't making and he's doing literally nothing.
Yeah, he's just selling glizzies. That's it. He's just like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the whole,
but like,
kind of wild.
He'd be doing that anyway. I mean, he's doing nothing extra for the extra money that he's making. And so like when people sit there and complain, oh, I can't think of how to make extra money or blah, blah, blah. Like it's so fucking simple. This is what it could be, right? There's a billion other ways as well, but like it's literally this simple.
I see some Trump and Clinton talk in the chat, so maybe he's a little bit divisive in his chat that he's having with the customers, and maybe that makes it even more interesting. I have no idea. I really hope we're not promoting somebody we shouldn't be promoting in this episode. Maybe it was the patio guy, maybe it was this guy. I don't know, but yeah, it's so simple. This is very, very simple, and this makes me want to just throw it up and like just fuck around and find out, because why not?
Hey, John here for just a sec. You know how we're always breaking down these wild business ideas and road testing opportunities that other podcasts won't touch? Well, we're growing our own business here, this podcast, and we need your help. So here's the deal. If the Low Bar podcast has given you that holy shit I can actually do this moment, or just made your commute less boring, help us out. If you're watching on YouTube, go and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify, go to our profile page on Spotify and smash that 5-star button. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, hit the review button and leave us a review. It takes you just 30 seconds, costs you nothing, but helps us reach more people who think starting a business is rocket science, which it's not. And it will also give us the momentum we need to do even more fun and crazy business stuff right here for your entertainment. We love to keep it real with you. Now keep it real with us. Let's grow this thing together.
All right, this one, pretty obvious what's going on here, John. This lady's working out. Yeah, I waited a little bit for a screenshot for the crowd here. She's got a little work done on the other side, but she's working out like a gym in real life is what it's calling. It's got like a booty and some splash at the end. 403 people are watching her workout.
I'm not surprised.
As a workout guy, yeah, I'm not surprised either. As a workout guy, John, you'd be watching this yelling at her for her form, for the long break she's taking in between the sets. She was not exactly working out the most efficiently, but I get it. I imagine this does super well for her.
I would imagine so. I mean, rightly or wrongly, if you're an even moderately attractive looking female, and you don't have to be super hot or anything, like you're going to make money from guys watching you do literally anything live. Like rightly or wrongly, you can think what you want of that, whether it's, like morally or ethically or whatever correct. I'm not going to inject any thoughts into it on that space. But like, honestly, if there's dumb guys out there who are happy to give you your money for something you're probably going to do anyway, fucking take it. Yeah, look, I mean, once again, I would assume like gym workouts would be like a really easy thing to stream. Like the amount of people, if you go to a public gym now, who are in there with their phones in front of them recording fucking everything they do. I mean, yeah, I'm a gym guy and I fucking hate it. It's so annoying. Now, yeah, when you go to the gym, you have to make sure you're not walking in front of somebody videoing themselves or some fucking shit for no reason. But people will definitely watch it. Whether if you're a guy as well, people will watch it. And yeah, they'll tell you you're doing it wrong. They'll tell you you're doing it right. You can engage with that if you want to. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so
you're definitely if you look like this, you're gonna have some fucking creeps in here if you look like this, hands down. So, women beware. But dude, you work out all the time, John. I've seen you work out. You work out pretty hard. Would you do this?
No.
You would
like,
not.
Would I have a problem with doing it? No. But like I just said, every single person who sets a camera up in front of themselves in the gym is not working out hard. Like it's a distraction. I just don't believe in the phone or the camera needs to be there at all. Like I fucking hate it. And if you're out there in the gym trying to video yourself, I am going to walk in front of your camera. Like, get fucked. I have to detour around the gym not to disturb you videoing yourself for no purpose. You're not getting more jacked because there's a camera there.
And I'm the guy walking by taking a peek and going, fuck, I'm on camera. That's me. I'm definitely that guy. So, and I'm looking at John, by the way. John is gorgeous.
I hate it, but I believe this would work for sure. Would I do it? No, never.
I think you should do this. I think this is the one that you should test drive for 30 days.
No.
Anyway, you can see the link at the top. She's, obviously also does OnlyFans and stuff like that. But again, I stumbled on this and it was more like, yeah, totally makes sense why this one's happening. Like, there was no doubt in my mind that stuff like this existed. It was definitely not entertaining. I'll tell you that. It was not enjoyable. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, this guy, sweet hat, by the way. He's got a great look going on there. But he is just playing slots. That's it. And before I could screenshot it, he left the one he was on where he was betting thousands of dollars per spin. Thousands. And I can see why that's enticing, right? We talked about it, way back when with Casino King. I can see why it's enticing to watch somebody bet things that you would never bet and want to know what happens. Some people are probably rooting for him to win. Some people are probably rooting for him to lose. He's more than likely taking donations to go to a different, machine, if you will. He's obviously playing online and not in person, but that's all he was doing. I watched him for a good 20 minutes and he was betting thousands on one and then would go to another and bet $100 here, $100 there. He was making a lot of money when I was watching him. I'm sure it's, quite up and down when you're watching this, but I could see this being very addicting.
Yeah. And look, honestly, this is why Kick exists. The dudes who built Kick built stake.com, and Twitch kicked anybody doing anything with stake off Twitch. So the dude said, well, fuck that. We're going to build a platform where people can stream gambling on stake. That's literally why Kick exists originally. Yeah, there's a ton of gambling on there. And that's why, because it was purposefully built for that purpose. And of course then, gamers and everybody else, because it's a great deal for content creators, gamers and everybody else came along as well for the ride. But this is literally what it was about. And look at this guy, he's got nearly 2,000 people watching him.
I didn't even notice the stake in the upper left. You had mentioned that earlier, and I'd never heard of that one. I didn't find it when I was researching this either.
Yeah, it's a couple of Aussie guys actually, or one Aussie guy and another guy who lives in Australia that I think was from Canada originally. They started stake.com. I don't know, they're worth like $5 billion now or something.
Look, this one's a no-brainer to me. So's the next one, right? This is some guy trading. That's all he's doing. He's trading crypto or stocks or wherever he's at. I didn't zoom in and watch this one too much. I can see the Bitcoin USDT price in the upper right. Ethereum, Sol, Chainlink. He's watching all of these. He's making positions and doing it live, right? And how interactive he's doing it, I'm not going to comment on that. Is he, God forbid, listening to his audience to make trades? I hope he's not. But he's making trades live. Like, to me, this is the same as me watching Lucci. Lucci's really good. He's not great. There's definitely way better people at Call of Duty. But when we first heard of people watching other people play video games, I remember going, why? Why would you watch that when you can go play it, right? And then I was like, wait a minute, I love baseball. Why do I watch baseball when I can go play baseball? Because I like watching people who are the best in the world at it, right? And so if I could watch my friend, his name's Keyboard Monkey, great follow on Twitter if you like bear posts and shorting. I love Keyboard Monkey. If I could watch him trade all day, I know how well he does. I would kill for that. I would love to watch someone that good do what this is. So I can imagine why this is great. It wouldn't, again, if he's good, it wouldn't take long. Or even if he was terrible. If he was really terrible, it might be just as entertaining as if he's good. But there's 454 people here watching him, make trades.
Once again, I think this would be a bit of a no-brainer for it. You're probably going to do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Probably going to do it anyway. It's an interesting one. I guess, yeah, the question would be like, what's the point of doing it? Like, that would be the question in some people's heads. Like, if you're trading and you're making money off that, why do you need to worry about, 450 viewers are going to be paying you? So I think there's that bit of a question to it in some ways, but
I'm going to be honest and say I assume it's to grow an audience so that you can move markets when you want to move markets. That would be my guess.
Well, yeah, and that would be a legitimate purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally illegal, but legitimate. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, next was simply like EDM music. It was somebody streaming music. Now, I couldn't find a bunch of other categories. I found a lot of EDM, but it's just someone playing that and like vibing with their audience and sitting in chat. And so, like, you know, a song would play. I couldn't really catch them talking about it. Maybe they said a word or two, never showed their face, and just played music the whole time. So I kind of took it as like a, you know, it's just a way to hang out and listen to music together. I know my stepkids and their dad like to like hang out on Discord and watch a movie together, which again, I didn't know was a thing. And so I assume this is very much that same thing, right? Like I've definitely watched YouTubers who I can picture this one dude with dreadlocks who likes to listen to the breakdowns of heavy riffs. And I like watching his reaction to some of those breakdowns. So I like watching that too. I'm not sure I would sit here and listen to this. Maybe if it was like an album release or something like that, but I found this one interesting. There's only 81 people watching this. I found others with more listeners, more watchers, more viewers, if you will. What do you think? Would you watch someone just, you know, would you just hang out and play music? Or would you support a creator who was playing your playlist that you want to listen to while you're working or something like that?
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all. I haven't seen this on this one on Kick or anything like that, but like this doesn't surprise me at all. And I actually think these streaming platforms, and once again, with the payouts on Kick, probably better than others, but like, is like kind of perfect for like artists, right? So this, like the EDM on watching it, like streaming it, this got really big around COVID, right? Obviously nobody was going out to dance parties. A lot of artists couldn't go out and play concerts or shows or anything like that. And so like bands as well were doing it. They were just streaming themselves playing from home, right? I mean, you probably saw some of those. I certainly watched a bunch back then, but particularly for like dance acts, there was a lot of streaming going on, and I was definitely watching them. Like there would just be dudes playing like a house set, and then like, you know, like all sorts just going on, like people that you knew, like decent names and all of that sort of thing. And so yeah, definitely I've watched a bunch of this sort of stuff streaming. I think it's cool as well. As an artist, you can also do the creation stuff as well. So, right, like you're somebody who produces electronic dance music. Let's just use this as an example. You're going to be in your studio making shit anyway, right? And so why wouldn't you just stream yourself making it, right? Just stream yourself making it. If you're another form of artist, like if you're a painter, let's say, or if you're somebody who draws or sketches. I was on Kick yesterday and I came across a woman who was doing like art on bits of wood where she's like, I don't know what it's called. But she's like burning the wood with like this tool and creating designs, right? And people were just watching her do this. Like there was, I can't remember how many people were watching at the time, but I literally stayed there for 10 minutes just watching it because I was like, oh, this is cool. So if you go on Kick, there's like a whole ASMR channel on there as well, where people will just watch people doing ASMR shit, right? So art often falls into that category. Like a lot of people find watching somebody else paint a picture relaxing. Like they'll just sit there and watch people doing that. And so once again, a lot of artists struggle to make money just by selling their art often in the traditional sense. Well, here's another little channel that you could hook onto your existing process, and not going to make you thousands of dollars maybe, but like it's going to make you something extra, and you're going to be there doing it anyway. Like you're literally going to be there painting your painting. You're going to be there drawing your drawing. You're going to be there recording your music. You're going to be there just practicing shit, coming up with lines or hooks or whatever for your music. And so flip on a camera while you're doing it. Like, I mean, what you're doing isn't secret. Do you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be worried about, oh, people will see my process, blah, blah, blah. Your process isn't a secret. There's very few secrets left in the world these days, but people will watch you do it. People will watch your art for sure. Like, I would literally watch people doing art. Absolutely. I like that one.
On the theme of just flip your camera on, you're going to be doing this stuff anyway. Here's someone sleeping, John. There's a whole category of just people sleeping. This one really blew my mind. There's 1,546 people watching this person sleep. And he's doing like a subscribe-a-thon, right? He's trying to get 1,000 subscribers or something. I don't know whether to react to the dude sleeping on camera or the dude's room in which he is sleeping at the moment. But holy shit! First off, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I would have there'd be like a tent going on at my house. Like, you know what? Like, how does a dude sleep without having a giant comforter? You know, where do you cross the line on PG when like sleeping at night? That's where I would ask.
How is that dude sleeping in a completely lit room? That's my question.
Yeah, the sun shining.
I can't sleep in a room that bright. Like, I literally can't do it.
I didn't know lava lamps were still a thing either.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is wild. Yeah, there's like, at the time you took this screenshot, there's 1,500 people watching. Like, that's bananas.
Yeah, I don't understand this category. And it's big. Like, there's a lot of people doing this on Kick. So maybe that goes to the whole theory of like, it's not about production. It's not about fancy setups. It's not about editing. There's got to be something here I feel like I'm missing. Is it just community? Is it just like, is it the internet itself where you can literally be into anything and you can watch somebody doing it, you can interact with somebody doing it. So like when I watch Lucci, like there's people sending him $10 to like use a certain gun in the game or, do some weird thing in the game. Like I can imagine when someone's doing art, like here's a tip of $30, draw me this thing or like make this design or show me how this is done. Like, but the sleeping one, I'm not sure I get that one. So I don't know how to sit with this one.
The sleeping one's tough. This is a tough one for me to understand as well. I mean, definitely community could be part of it because there is interaction there that happens in the chat space. People chat back and forth with each other for sure. I mean, that does happen and that could be part of it. I mean, there's a lot of lonely people out there in the world at the moment, unfortunately. And so that could be part of it. Humans are very much voyeurs though. Like we love watching other people do shit, even if we don't like to admit it. We do. Like we're super curious. We're like as an organism, we're super curious. We're very intelligent. When you put those two things together, like we just love to watch shit. I think we get curious and we want to watch shit, and like we secretly like to know what other people do. I think as well. Like how do other people sleep? Like you can't watch somebody else sleep. Like when else can you do that? If you've got a partner, you could sit there and watch them sleep. Like if you're married or you've got a boyfriend, girlfriend or whatever, yeah, you probably, if you're sleeping in the same room as them, you could sit there and watch them sleep. But that would be fucking weird, particularly if they woke up. They would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? If you've got kids, you can watch your kids sleep. But outside of that, you can't really watch somebody sleep anywhere. Like where? Where do you're not in somebody's bedroom. And so this is kind of like it's not really like taboo in a dirty sense. But it kind of is. Like, you can't just go and watch somebody sleep. Like, you're going to get arrested, right? Generally speaking. So this is like actually, I don't know if there's like some weird fetish around this. Like, this is just actually like a thing that this platform is giving you and people who are okay with it are giving you the ability to do. They're getting paid for it, which is great. You can pay them if you want to for doing it. And you can see something that you can never see any other way, almost.
It wasn't this one. I was watching another stream and like based on your donation, you could make some like loud siren go off or a bullhorn go off or a buzzer go off or something like that. So people were donating just to annoy the person sleeping who's, thrilled they're getting woken up just to make $10, I'm sure. But I just think there's endless ideas here. So I encourage you, if you're watching this, go to kick.com and scroll around. I was going to show a live version. We'll just skip that one and start talking business ideas because I genuinely want to know, where does your head go here, John? My brain started having a million ideas. Just showing you some of these things that I found, you're already seeing them through a different lens than I am. I put a bunch of ideas in our spreadsheet if you want to talk about some of those, but where does your head go initially?
Well, my head initially goes to like a couple of those examples that you had. Like, yep, there's a ton of just wacky, weird shit on there for sure. And that's cool. But like the food truck guy one that you showed, like that's kind of an obvious one. Look, I mean, that guy's not making a lot of money off the food. Probably making enough to get by and keep his business running and all of that sort of thing, pay the bills, etc. But I'm sure, it's not a hugely scalable business, right? In the sense of, where's the scale there? It's only ever to have more food trucks in more locations. And if that's not what you are able or want to do, then how do you inject a little bit more cash into it? Well, I mean, if there's something interesting about how you're doing it, whether it's the conversations you're having, whether it's the customers that you have, whether it's the food you're making, like setting up a camera and making some extra money, like that's kind of a no-brainer to me. Like it's just a simple, easy way to add some extra revenue to your business. And then, like I said, people who create things, the process of creation is something that people love watching, like at the moment online. Like they just love it. You think of all the little videos of people like splattering paint bombs and, watching the dude who drops the tin of paint and it pendulums across a massive canvas and things like that. Like these things get millions of views, right? When they're recorded as YouTube videos or something. There'll be people who will watch that stuff live. And once again, you're making money as an artist of all sorts. It can be difficult to make money at times, right? And so once again, you're going to be doing the thing anyway. People want to see somebody doing that thing. why wouldn't you take that extra money? Like, once again, you could just set up a camera, have a laptop there, or a streaming app on your phone even that can connect to platforms like Kick or Twitch, or you could put it on YouTube Live at the same time as well if you want to be building an audience on YouTube, and people will definitely watch you live on YouTube too and subscribe to your channel there. And it kind of just seems like a bit of a no-brainer at this point. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, I see artists I follow a lot of artists on Instagram because I'm an art guy. I like art. And like half of them are always complaining, man, people are ripping me off and nobody's buying my shit and it's so hard as an artist and to make any money and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like, well, you just got to think outside the box sometimes a little bit. And this could help you if you're somebody who's struggling to get your foot in the door, struggling to get known, struggling to turn your passion into money, which we'd all love to do. Once again, it can't be any more simple than turning the camera on the device you already have on and pointing it at what you're doing. There is no simpler way to make money on this planet, I don't think, than this. And yeah, you're not going to make $1 million doing it, probably, but if you're at the start, this is something.
One big premise that we had when we started discussing this show was that information is inevitably going to get democratized. It's not going to cost anything for information. If it's not already there, it's only going to get worse as AI, LLMs, they take everything and they bundle it up, and you're just going to have all the information you could possibly have, right? Let's be realistic and say we're 5-10 years from AGI, which means in that 5 to 10 years, all information is going to be democratized. You'll have no excuse at this point, right? And so the only thing that will matter is audience. This is a reason that we're trying to build a bigger audience here, have someone that we want to hang out with, right? The idea behind any business is audience already, and it's going to be audience in the future. And so to your point, whether it's the artist creating something, they're going to need an audience and to sell their products to, right? And so why wouldn't they hang out with that audience as they're doing it, show their process, show all the ins and outs. But it got me thinking, John, like, where can we do this in business? Because I didn't see on any of those categories anything business, and that actually blew my mind. I want to believe that there are people who are doing business in some way where you would want to go watch them and interact with them. So I threw out a few ideas. I'd love for you to tell me they're good, they're bad, or how you would do them differently. I don't know if any of these are good, honestly. There's only one of them that I kind of like, and the rest of them I don't know. So audit me. Tell me what you think.
I did find some. Like, I went and looked for this a little bit as well, because that was obviously my mind went straight to this when I started going through Kick originally, and I'd kind of looked for it on some other, like on Twitch before as well back in the past. And there's a category on Kick which is called Just Chatting, which is kind of like it's just the catch-all kind of category for people who are just on there talking to the camera and doing stuff, right? It seems to be. And I certainly, in there, I did find some people that were kind of doing stuff around business. Like, a lot of it wasn't English though, so I couldn't really understand what the fuck they were saying or what they were interacting around. But like they were just talking about various business things. And like there was interaction, like people were asking them questions on the chat and stuff, and they were answering it there. Yeah, anyway, you tell me your ideas. But I think there's a little bit there, but you're right. I mean, it kind of feels to me like could be a bigger thing, but it's not.
It does all feel like Just Chatting to me, right? So my first idea is like just stream your entire workday. So you would need OBS for this, which is open broadcasting software, in order to let your camera be used by multiple things. But you're going to want to stream it on not just Kick, right? Like you mentioned, you're probably going to want to be on some other platforms, such as maybe the Blue app, if you will. I believe that's what they call it. Everybody hates Twitch nowadays. YouTube, TikTok, you can go live on there, right? There's a lot of places you could go live. So can you just literally, I've got a camera over here. Hi, this camera over here. Can I just put that one on and stream my whole day? Just like as I'm sitting here, half the time it's just going to be me hunched over, fucking mouth breathing as I'm like, reading something or watching a YouTube video. But I'd also look over at the chat. I look over here at the Bitcoin price all day long. I could look over here at the chat and interact with these people who are like, hey, what are you building, right? It might be accountability, could be teaching, could be involvement. Back when I was running Paramount Pet Health, my business partner, Leanna, brought up this, like, I want to call it like co-working, but like virtual co-working. And so she would want to get on a call where you would just leave your cameras on and like play music, and we would work together. And somehow I didn't get it. She enjoyed it. And a lot of other people seemed to enjoy it. And so like, would this fall into that same category of like, you're just kind of co-working, chatting? I don't know what people would send you money for in this, but it's kind of like the guy doing the food truck. Unless you're interacting with these people a lot about a subject or your opinion on something, you're just going to be doing your job anyway. Do you think you could just flip your camera on and work all day?
Yeah, I probably could. I mean, I could, because I'm obviously used to doing things in front of a camera at this point. We've been doing it for years, and I've shared a lot in a recorded sense that I plan to record. This isn't really much different in a sense. I guess it's a little bit different because you're doing it live, and so there's no editing, there's no like any post-production or anything like that. What you see is what you get. And so I think you do need a little bit of, there's a little bit of a comfort barrier that people would have to get over to do this. I think that's where a lot of people's mental roadblock would come with this. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with doing that. I think, once again, my brain goes to who the fuck's going to really find that interesting? But like, as we've just seen with all of these examples, like who would have thought people watching somebody sleeping is interesting? Clearly they do. Clearly there's enough people that do. And so, yeah, I think as well, I mean, I think it would be good if you were doing something specific as well. So like thinking back to a previous episode where we were talking about ideas for the business, and we talked about ideas to grow the podcast. And one of those ideas was, well, we could just get on and do like a live stream of like us building something for, 8 hours, 12 hours, something like this. Well, obviously if we were going to do that, we would hook it up with Twitch and Kick and everything as well, and stream it there, as well as YouTube, as well as record it. And that's going to be doing a specific thing. So I don't know. I think you could do it in like, there's a lot of businesses out there where they do a specific task. So once again, thinking back to Food Truck Man, the business things is definitely something people would engage with, I think.
I think you could work it into a lot of people's jobs too. I just don't know how the employer would feel. But I picture when I go pick up my salad, there's a Caribou coffee in there. And there's no one buying coffee anytime I come in for lunch. I don't know if it's just the wrong time of day or what, but the girl behind the counter is just playing on her phone, right? I can imagine her having her phone set off to the side streaming. People would love to know what working at Caribou Coffee is like, let alone, if she has any sort of charisma, she could, interact with her audience there while she's doing it. She's just sitting there hanging out anyway. And I'm sure there's other jobs, like to your point of curiosity, there's probably a bunch of jobs I wonder what that's like. And if you could interact with somebody while doing that job and, not piss off the boss too much, I think it could work.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. Like, people ask, I wonder what that's like. So it's kind of like that thing of like, I want to watch somebody sleeping. It's the same thing. Like, there would genuinely be people out there. Like, if you're a plumber and you're just going out to sites to fix somebody's blocked toilet or something, there's going to be people out there who are like, I wonder what the fuck a plumber does. I wonder what being a plumber is like. Okay, well, follow along and let's watch. Let's find out. And look, there are tradespeople and people in all sorts of businesses that do record themselves doing stuff anyway, but they're just not usually doing it live, and they're not they're putting it up on their YouTube later as like we fixed this $1 million mansion's plumbing today. Watch us do it. And they got the excavator, they're digging it. Like, that's all on YouTube, right? But you're not getting paid. You get paid dick all for views on YouTube. Even if you've got your channel monetized, like, you make nothing. Like, literally, you've got to be getting millions and millions and millions of views on your stuff to get any real sort of income from that. And yes, you could say, well, it puts our name out there and maybe that's a bit of lead generation. Great. But literally here, you'll make the same amount with 100 people watching your thing as you would tens of thousands of views on YouTube, right? And so this is just doing it live rather than in post-production. So I don't know.
You're getting $16 an hour if you have 1,000 viewers, right? $16 an hour is great if you're adding that on. For me, the moment you said plumbing, I was like, oh shit, there's going to be people like, think of the people who like watching like cysts get popped and pimples get popped and all that stuff. Like, they're going to love watching someone unplug a fucking toilet or, pull the hair out of the drain or something gross like that. Like, there's 100% there's going to be people into that shit, and then they're going to love having the conversation.
Pulling the tree roots out of the blocked water water pipes and stuff. Like, there's videos all over YouTube I see of that, or Instagram was like ones that were recorded earlier. Like, put a tripod out with the camera on it. Well, you recorded it anyway for YouTube, right? So just set it live. Like, it's just if you're on your phone, like you mentioned OBS earlier, there's another app that I have called Streamlabs, which you can hook up to like 8 different things at once. So it's streaming live freaking everywhere, and you're recording it. So you can still do your produced video that you post to YouTube or whatever. So if you're recording this stuff for YouTube, you're already recording it, right? So just stream it live at the same time. You can do it from your phone. You don't have to have a fancy tech setup for this, right? Literally now you've got a 4K camera on your phone. Simple. There's an app for that. And just go do it.
All right. Next idea had to do with some of the terrible ideas from episode 2, the sweat framework, right? And it was like, hey, no, I couldn't do this in 1 hour, or excuse me, 5 minutes, right, for a 1 minute short, but I could do it throughout the day. I just didn't want to circle back and have to re-edit a video or close out a loop on some of those shorts. But you could do this live, right? So all of those shitty ideas that ChatGPT came up with, which was like, test an idea live or run $200 testing this ad or whatever, all of those ideas would be fantastic. You could literally just do one of those a day. You should probably be testing something in your business anyway. And so you could do all of those things and just run it live. Like, here's the live counter of like, here's the interactions I'm getting. If you're running something, John, I guarantee, maybe not you because you're different. I'm going back and refreshing that screen every 5 minutes anyway to see what's going on. I refresh our YouTube all the time to see what's going on. When I had an Amazon business, I would refresh it all day long to see the sales I was getting inside of Seller Central. And so just do that for your audience and talk about just interact with your audience. So I think, I kind of called it day trading, but for business, like I think any of those terrible ideas from ChatGPT would work. Wrapping that into the work one too, I'll throw another one in there real quick, is like, if you are a nomad, I think showing where you work would be it. Like, just live stream yourself working, but like if you're doing it at Copenhagen or somewhere in Southeast Asia, or you're on a beach somewhere, or you're at a co-working space, or wherever you are, I think just streaming yourself in one of those places and talking about, being a digital nomad, but being productive. People are going to find that fascinating, again, because they want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once again, it's that experiencing life in someone else's shoes kind of thing. Like that place you want to be, but you can't be there. But you can watch somebody else doing it. It's kind of feels the same. You get that same emotional kind of connection to it. People want that. And once again, like I remember seeing this once again during COVID, right? Here in Australia, like in a lot of cities, people couldn't go out, blah, blah, blah. And so there were people, though, out in more regional areas, you could still go out into nature and do all your normal things. The state I lived in, we didn't really have any lockdowns at all. And so there were people who were live streaming them going for a bushwalk, like walking through a forest, right? And it was the people who were in lockdown in like cities and stuff were watching just somebody going for a walk that they would do on their weekend, but that they can't do because they're not allowed to. Just walking, like not narrating it. They're just walking and pointing the camera at the things they're seeing, right? Like, and people were streaming this stuff. I reckon you could still do that today.
Probably, yeah. I think some of this has to do with like being a bit of a loner, being a bit lonely, and like this is the interaction I think some people are getting, which makes me a little bit sad. But oh my god, look, all right, I got a couple more ideas for you. One is like we kind of talked about it. It's like building a product live. Like, we come from the dropshipping world. I think you could sit and build a business. We could do the PDF thing. We kind of mentioned that before. I think all of that could work. Another one would be, we do a lot of coaching. You and I, we do consulting and coaching, and so could we turn that into something we do live now? Maybe it's not with our paid clients. Maybe it's something we do on the side with just sites we found. Like, we'll just do an audit. We kind of did it on a coaching call for one of our students earlier today. Can we review the business and the website and interact with chat? Like, chat hopefully is into this too, and they're pointing out stuff and they're saying, hey, what would you do here? Or, hey, I'll give you $10 to add this to cart and, order this thing or whatever, or something. Like, I don't know how you would interact, but I think it would be very valuable. And from there, you could charge someone to be featured, right? Like, when I go live next week, it's Jimmy in the chat who gave me 500 kicks to do his website next week, right? Like, I think that would be a very valuable thing. And you could, are you going to make as much as consulting? I don't know, but I think it would be something I would do for fun anyway.
Yeah, I think you could, once again, I think there's people out there that would find that interesting. Like it'd be interesting to test that. Would that sort of thing actually, that's obviously a bit more of a pre-planned thing rather than a like spontaneous live thing. You know what I mean? Like just watch me working is kind of a spontaneous thing. Like saying I'm going to go and review a business, like that's kind of more pre-planned. I mean, does that play well on that sort of platform? Maybe it does. I don't know. Like, I don't see a lot of it there at the moment. So you'd kind of be a bit of a pioneer if you were going to go and test it.
So that's the hard part. How do you get people over there, right? Like, you'd have to bring your first couple over and say, hey, I'm going to do this, come watch me kind of thing. But how are people ever going to find you? Because it's not there yet, right? And so how would you be a pioneer on this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you would be like, obviously if you were coming from a place where you already had some sort of audience built elsewhere, you would be like, hey, we're going live on Kick at 4:30 on blah, blah, blah day. Come and watch us, right? And you drag your existing audience there, or a portion of it, and that would kind of get you your initial views. And presumably then once people are watching, the algorithm on Kick puts you into the like people's feeds and stuff on there, so that you're discoverable. I don't know how much they drive discoverability of people that don't have many people watching yet. I don't know how their algorithm works over there, but presumably there's some algorithmic stuff there that recommends similar things to whatever. I don't know. That's a good question. Like if you had no following and you were brand new to anything, like how do you get people knowing? Well, it's probably like anything. You're going to start off with just a few randoms watching you, and you have to be consistent and keep showing up. It's going to be like anything, right? But that's like starting off with zero at anything. Starting off at zero with a podcast. Starting off at zero with a YouTube channel. I mean, like there's things you can do, but like generally your growth comes from being consistent and doing something that people want to watch or listen to or consume. You know what I mean? And doing it over time.
My assumption is it's multi-streaming, right? So you're going to get discovered on somebody scrolling on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram or something like that. And through that, you're going to be constantly telling them, hey, come over, hang out on Kick kind of thing, right? Like, hey, we prefer to be on Kick. A lot of how I discovered Kick, because I didn't really realize I was watching Lucci on YouTube, is like somebody would donate $5 to play a song. And he'd be like, oh, we're going to play this song. And it's some, whatever, hilarious song that is a joke in the community. I don't hear anything on YouTube because he can't play it. He's like, oh, I wonder what it's like to be sitting on YouTube and you can't even hear this. Come over to Kick or whatever. You know what I mean? He's constantly telling people to come over to Kick. So, are you being discovered on TikTok? I'm not sure. But you probably have more likely to be discovered on somewhere people are already hanging out, right? Like Kick's going to have its audience, right? But it's not going to have the discoverability of something as big as TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. And certainly if you're new, you're going to get pushed by those platforms too. All right, I got one more idea, and I actually think we should do this one, John. I saw this because I saw Shannon doing it. Shannon Jean from a previous episode. They were live streaming their pod recordings. And I asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, some people just want to watch that stuff. And I actually talked to his partner who runs a media company afterwards, and he said the same thing. He's like, people started asking, what is it like when you record? What does it look like? And so they literally set a camera off or they use OBS. Before the call, we end up saying some like really dumb stuff, and we go, hey, man, we should be recording this. Like, I think people would find that valuable. They would get essentially the show early. They would see the weird parts where we cut and tell our editor, hey, pull that piece out or let me re-say that kind of thing. I don't know if they would, if someone would find that valuable or not, but my hunch is that they would.
Yeah, I mean, that's an obvious one. That was already in my mind as well.
Well, I might have to learn OBS for us to set that up, but I think we should probably do that. Just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd even be looking at, does Riverside allow you to do that?
I would assume you can stream from there, yeah.
No brainer. Keep an eye out for Low Bar Podcast Live. Wrapping this up, like we've gone through a ton of different examples about how all of the crazy things that people are already out there watching people do live, and things where the person who's live isn't really doing anything that they wouldn't already be doing. Like, in fact, almost all of those examples that we looked at, that person would be doing that thing anyway. All they've done is tacked on a camera to what they're doing. They're now getting paid. And sure, the amounts will vary and all of that sort of thing. But the reality is, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I'd like to make a bit of extra money, I'd like to get myself out there maybe in some way. I'd like to just even add a little bit of extra revenue to what I'm doing. Or you're just like, I just want to find out what would happen. This is so simple. In the theme of this podcast, business is simple. This is simple. All you have to do is take your phone, switch it on when you're doing stuff, and see what happens. Like, fuck around and find out. You literally can't go wrong here. Either someone will watch or no one will watch, and at the end of the day, you've lost nothing. It's all to gain. So, once again, business is simple. Don't make excuses about how you can't make money. Anyone can do this. Give it a go today.